What's up, everybody? This is BP coming at you for Value of Truth. I had to get my daily fix from Arby's, getting their little $1 chocolate shake. Can't beat it. So today, I do apologize. I don't have my microphone on me today. I'm kind of in a hurry. So I really didn't have time to grab it. So I do apologize for the poor audio quality, but content still hopefully will be excellent, factual, and intellectual. So we're going to answer the question, what does the Bible say about Easter? And we're going to read from our text in Acts chapter 12. It says, "Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers," I can't say it right, "to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him." So a little background information about the text that we're reading from. Number one, this is the King James Version from 1611. Okay, so King James of Scots authorized the translation of the Bible into English back in the year 1611. I think the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, and so on wanted to stop him, so they had what's called the Gunpowder Plot. And Joseph, was it Joseph Fox? I can't remember the guy's name. I believe his last name is Fox. And he was the one that was behind it all. So he tried to blow up Parliament. It was called the Gunpowder Plot. Anyway, the plot was foiled. The plan was found out. He was executed, tortured, and so on. And they later, Guy Fawkes, I think that was the guy's name, Guy Fawkes. Well, I don't know if you remember that movie V for Vendetta, but the mask that they had on in that movie was from Guy Fawkes from the Gunpowder Plot from 1611 when he tried to blow up Parliament to, I guess, stop the translation of the Bible. But anyway, the Bible was translated into English and has dominated the world's translations. So since then, we've had modern translations like the New International Version, NASB, and so on and so forth. The Message, that's a terrible translation. But anyway, so we were reading in the King James Bible of the New Testament of the book of Acts it's called the Acts of the Disciples. Okay, and this took place after the resurrection of Jesus Christ, after the crucifixion, after the resurrection. And so now Jesus had ascended to heaven. This is a first-hand account from the Apostle Luke, and he wrote it to I believe it was King Theophilus. He was a king of Antioch, and he had written this document to him, and that is what we're reading from. It is a manuscript. It's from someone who actually wrote a letter to a king back in the 1st century AD. So we're reading from that, and so he's telling about the story of King Herod, who was the king of Judea underneath Caesar. He was in subjection to Caesar, and then Herod at the time didn't believe the gospel. He didn't believe Christianity, so he was persecuting the Christians, and he ended up killing a couple of the disciples, and then he also intended to kill Peter as well, who was Christ's disciple. And so from this we read that he intended after Easter, verse 4, to bring him forth to the people. Now, the word Easter is only mentioned one time in the Bible, only once, and that's in this very chapter of the book of Acts. And if you read in the modern translations, a lot of them do not use that word Easter. Instead, they use the word Passover. Both are accurate, both are correct, because they are synonymous. They mean the same thing. So when we refer to Easter, we are talking about the Passover. If you read in Webster's 1828 dictionary, defines that word Easter as the Passover. It is talking about the Jewish Passover, and has since evolved to the Christian Passover, which we know today to be the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is the picture of the sacrificial lamb during the Passover feast. Because once a year they would take a lamb, the Jews would, and they would take him and sacrifice him, and that would be the Passover lamb to signify that God would pass over the Jewish people during the exodus of the Jews from the land of Egypt. When they left, God had judged Pharaoh and his people by sending the angel of death to kill the firstborn. So to spare them, God told the people to put the blood of a lamb over the doorpost so God would pass over them. And that is where we get the word Passover. So again, the word Passover and Easter mean the same thing. Now, there's been a lot of debate about Easter and so on. Oh, it's pagan. Oh, this and that. Well, maybe the word in origin is a pagan word, but the event itself is very Jewish in nature. So it's actually the Jewish origin of Easter is Passover. It means the same exact thing. You can read it for yourself on Wikipedia if you want to use that as a reference. Nonetheless, Jesus is what we call the Passover lamb. And so, in fact, I think, what was it? Is it 1 Corinthians chapter 11, I believe? Let's see. Because I know it talks about Christ our Passover sacrifice for us. It says, "For I have received the